Good morning, girls. Welcome to the subject of POM, that is Productions and Operations Management. We are dealing with unit number 3, and this is part 6 and the portion B. In the previous lecture, we have already seen the process layout, right, along with its advantages and disadvantages. In this session, we will be checking the difference between product layout and process layout. Mind you, students, this is very important session, because here we are going to discuss the difference from the examination point of view. Process layout, product layout, individual process also they are important, and for the sake of learning also, for the sake of understanding also, they are important. And the difference between product layout and process layout is again very important as far as the examination point of view is concerned. Many a times the question on difference has been asked. So there is very simple comparative points. There are very simple comparative points. So if you are clear with both the process layout, both the layouts, then what happens is that it becomes easy for us to take up with the difference. So in this session, we'll be checking with the difference between the product layout as well as the process layout. See, if you see, we are going to check out with few of the parameters. There are as many as 10 to 11 points, right, of comparison, and one by one will be checking each. Supposingly, we start with number 1 here, that is definition. What is product layout? Then we can say that product layout is one in which the machines are set up in order of the procedure required to produce a particular kind of product. That means product layout is flow of materials from one machine to the another in the sequential basis, and the machines are set up in such a manner that from one machine to the second to the third to the fourth, and likewise the product falls. I repeat, product is very important in product layout, right? Now, if we check out with the process layout definition, then we can say that process layout is one in which the machines are set up at the different locations to produce a wider variety of goods. That means the process layout is such in which all the machines performing the similar works are set up together. They are together, and then the process goes on. That means variety of goods are to be produced. This is the best type of setup. All right, we move on to the suitability. Now, when which process or which layout goes best, or which layout is suitable where? In that sense, we can say that product layout is suitable when the continuous and large scale production of similar types or standardized goods is there. That means when you want to produce something standardized, same types of goods, monotonous goods, when we want to produce, product layout is suitable. That means continuous. If the demand of the product is continuous and the flow of the process is such wherein we can take up on a continuous basis, there is no intermittence. That means there is no intervals in between. So in such a kind of production cycle, this type of layout is best. And when you want to have the mass production done, large scale production when you want to do, you can always go for such a kind of setup. Then go to the process layout. How it is different? Process layout is suitable when small scale and altered goods are to be produced in accordance with the customer's choice and order. That means when you want to produce something in small scale, it is not standardized. So many alterations can be done, and moreover according to customer's choice. That means it can be customized on one hand, or the order is being placed and you want to carry out with job work. Then at that time, this type of layout is most suitable. That is said to be process layout. See, in the next slides and onwards, you will be able to see that first para will always be about the product layout, and the next will be about the process layout. So we have seen with the definition, we have seen the suitability. We are moving towards the third point of difference, that is arrangement. In product layout, the machines are arranged in a line as per the sequence of operations. That means according to the the fall of the production cycle, the machines are arranged in a proper sequence, 1 2 3 4 5, and likewise Whereas in process layout, what happens? Similar machines are grouped together in one department. In previous session, we have seen that so many machines performing same type of goods are placed together. Say I give you the same example of spraying machine or painting machines. So many machines doing the same painting work are placed together. That means they are grouped together in one single department. That is what is the arrangement in process layout. Whereas in product layout, what happens? There is a sequential arrangement of the machines. That is what is very important. You have to keep it in mind. Definition number 1, the point of difference. Suitability number 2. Number 3, it is about the arrangement. We move on to the fourth one, that is material handling. Now, how material handling is done in product layout? Then material handling costs are negligible because the output of one machine is the input of the another machine. That means the flow is according to the sequence, one to the second, second to the third, and likewise. Means as compared to process layout, material handling is comparatively low, or maybe in time at a time, say automatic system is there, then you don't need to even transfer the material from one machine to the another. So in that case, no transportation may be required or no material handling is required in the product layout. Whereas in the process layout, material handling costs are high because the material has to be transported to the various departments. That means various departments you have to keep on transferring the materials, right? If painting is done, the work of the painting on the product or semi-finished product is to be taken up. Then if you take up to the, say, drilling machine, then you have to take the whole slot to the drilling section, and likewise a lot of material handling is done in process layout as compared to product layout. The next point is also there, flexibility. Flexibility, we have talked about this point in the earlier lecture quite in detail. Product layout is completely inflexible. That means once you install the product layout, one machine to the next and likewise, then you cannot change it every now and then. So in that sense, it is inflexible. And as far as process layout is concerned, it is very flexible because everything can be arranged, everything can be changed according to the requirement, and that is why it may be in most of the times it is that process layout is highly flexible in nature, right? Next point of difference is inventory. As far as the product layout is concerned, the inventory that we may be using may not be that much. That means you don't require a lot of the inventory to continue the production, right? Whereas high inventories are required for the process layout because there is total discontinuation of the production. That means at a time only the spraying work is being taken up, in the other section only the assembly work may be taken up. So there is continuous intervals and discontinuation of the work. In that sense, inventories you require more in nature as compared to product layout. So if you check it, it has its own disadvantage also, that you require high inventory stock for process layout as compared to product, because product, you know that if mass scale production is there, you have put the enough inventory for it and then the flow goes on. But in the process layout, what happens, because there is discontinuation, the work does not go in a continuity. In fact, it is functional. That means whatever function is performed, for that you require the inventories, and that is why high inventories may be required for process layout. Now talk about the incentives. When we are talking about the incentives, or maybe the interest being given or being paid to the to the people or employees there, then what happens is that in the product layout we can have the group incentive schemes, which is possible. That means a group of people are working for the same kind of, or maybe at the different machines, then at a stretch all the people may be provided with the group incentive. Yes, in the process layout individual incentives can be provided, because in a particular function, if one person is working very well or on his machine he may be taking up with good deal of work, then at that time the individual incentives or maybe monetary motivation can be provided to him, which encourages the other one also. So incentive schemes can be set also depending upon the type of layout that you suggest or that you have it. I repeat, product layout, yes, the group incentive is possible. In the process layout, the individual incentive is possible. coming back to the space required. Now small space may be required because it is and it is fully utilized because machines are kept in one after the other in the order. In order you are placing the machine one, second, third, fourth, and likewise. So what happens is that small space is required as compared to the process layout. And in the next layout, that means in the process layout, either a large space or different locations are required to set up the different departments, because everything is placed according to the departmental setup is there, and at that time what happens is you require a large space to continue with different departments or to group the machines performing the similar works. Now if we go to the bottlenecks, then bottlenecks is a kind of congested area of exit and entry. That is what is known as bottlenecks. Since the starting of the subject I have been telling the meaning of bottleneck to you, right? So product layouts help in avoiding the bottlenecks, and the next is there is possibility of frequent bottlenecks in the process layout. See, product layout helps in avoiding the bottlenecks. Why? Because the flow is constant, 1 2 3 4 5, and the goods are out for the packing or maybe out for the selling purpose, but there is a high amount of bottlenecks, or there may be bottlenecks that you have to face in the process layout, because the functions are being carried out at one place, the similar functions are carried out at one place. So entry and exit of the materials or maybe the goods may be at times kind of creating congestion. Then at that time the bottlenecks is quite possible in process layout, but in product layout the flow is very easy going. Bottlenecks or congestions are hardly there, right? If we move to the 10th one, then we can say that the skills required. Workers don't require any specific skill in the product layout, because highly automatized machines are being used. System is taking its own raw material and inputs, and you don't require actually very skilled worker, because they are not performing much on the product. Instead, the machine themselves work for their own, so they can work on any machines in entire space. You don't require any specific type of skill to handle with the product layout. Whereas in the process layout, what happens is worker need a specialized skill, because already you are producing customized goods, you are producing low variety and non-standardized goods. In that sense, what happens is workers with specialized skill may be required to operate a specific function. Say if you are doing the embroidery work, then if you know the embroidery work, or the skilled worker who know the embroidery work on the textiles, only they can perform with those machines. So as compared to product layout, the skilled workers are required more in process layout, so that again increases the cost, right? Because skilled workers are to be paid more as compared to unskilled ones. I repeat, the product layout may not require more skilled workers as compared to process layout, because process layout may require specialized skilled people to perform the various jobs. Again, it is because of the non-standardized and customized goods, right? If we move to the 11th point, it is all about the flexibility. I told you flexibility we have dealt earlier also, right? So here the process is rigid, non-flexible. That means the product layout is non-flexible, it is rigid. It can't be expanded or shortened at convenience. If you want to shorten the life in the production cycle, you can't do it. If you want to expand it, you can't do it. If one machine breaks down, the entire process is disrupted. So if one machine, say stage 3, the machine is not working, then you can't carry the product to stage 4 and 5. That means it is highly inflexible. Product layout if it has got its own advantage of high production, then it has this disadvantage of inflexibility also. That means it's not at all flexible, it is very rigid, and you cannot make the changes according to the convenience. As compared to the process layout, product layout, how the process layout works, this layout is more flexible because the changes can be made very easily, right? Alterations can be provided, and skipping or expanding of the operation is quite possible. You can skip the operations at times if you want to, right? If the convenience is not there today, and if the workers are not available today, then you can make the workers do the work tomorrow and you can skip to the next part. But in the product layout, that area of flexibility is not there. That means flexible is the process layout, and inflexible, or that is rigid, is the product layout. And depending upon the manufacturing style, the manufacturer has to select that, okay, if my product is such, it does not require flexibility, I can go for product layout. But when my product needs flexibility, changes are often to come, setups have to be changed according to the customization, then at that time I have to select the process layout, right? Next and the last one as the point of difference comes up is advantages. Here what I have done is I have taken up the list of advantages for product layout. In the next slide we will be taking up with the process layout. So what is the advantage number 1 of the product layout? Efficient supervision can be done. How that can be done? Because the machines are performing the function in the sequence. So if one person is looking after the whole sequence of the goods efficiently, he can take care of, right? Next, large scale production, definitely product layout and its speciality is that you can produce something in bulk. When you can produce something in bulk, you can have the economies of scale, you can utilize all the capacities into its best possible manner, and that helps to get the per unit cost down. That means large scale production can be done very easily. It is simple and less paperwork is required. It is simple because once the channel is set, once the production cycle is set, you don't need to change it every now and then. And next is low skills requirement. That means you don't require skilled worker, as we have seen in the previous slides, right? Even the non-skilled person can take care of the whole process, because almost it is in a sequence and no changes are there in between, right? Now, if we check out with the advantages of process layout, the best and the most advantageous thing in process layout is its flexibility. You don't need to make the changes, you don't need to, or you need to, if you need to make the changes, if you need to change the setup every now and then according to requirement, it can be done very easily. Again, consumer based production can be done. That means the customized goods can be produced. You don't need to have all the goods being produced in standardized way. That means bulk production is not required, standardized only the stereotype goods, monotonous goods are not required. At that time, varied kind of goods can be produced very easily under this setup, because the similar functional machines are set together in the group, and the flexibility is its best advantage. Next is specialization is possible. Yes, if I gave you the example just a couple of minutes before, that if somebody is good with some specialized skill, then that skill can be used to its best, and likewise specialization can be done. Standardization is not required, specialization can be done, customization can be done, and like that this becomes the most advantageous setup for customized goods or maybe job shop, right? Again, there can be reduction in the investment of the machines. Why so? Because if same kind of typical machines are there to perform the work, then at that time we can reduce the investment in having the same type of machines. Whereas in the product layout, that is not possible. Why? Because product layout, each machine performs a specific function and it cannot be replaced. So investment in process layout is comparatively low, or it can be reduced if asked for. You can dispose, say, out of 5 machines, if only 3 machines you need it on a continuous basis, then you can avoid installing or making the investment in the next 2 machines, which is not possible in the product layout. So this is how 4 advantages of the process layout we have mentioned it as the point of difference, and we have seen the advantages of the product layout also. So here we are ending up the session with the difference between product layout and process layout. Up till now, in the types of layout, we have dealt with 2 types of layout. Product layout, product is important. Process layout, functions are important, right? Product layout can be used when large scale of production is to be done, customized, standardized goods are to be produced, right? We can take up with the product layout where customized goods, intermittent goods are produced. Process layout is the best option, and depending upon the requirement of the manufacturer, then further the decision can be made. So I am ending up the session here. When we meet next, we shall be taking up with the next type of layout. By that time, take care of yourselves. Thank you. Goodbye.